Discover this incredible grandma's 20-year journey. A heartwarming tale of unexpected overcoming. Evelyn Johnson, a spirited 70-year-old grandmother, was the beating heart of Maplewood. With every cup of coffee poured at her diner, she poured a bit of love into the town that had become her family. Beneath her weathered hands lay the vibrant colors of her garden, where daisies danced in the wind, each bloom a testament to the life she had nurtured for 2 decades since her husband, a brave war veteran, left this world. The laughter of her grandchildren filled her modest home, echoing sweetly in the air, yet a deep ache throbbed within her. Loss was a quiet shadow gnawing at her peace, especially as her only daughter, Melanie, chased dreams far beyond Maplewood's gentle borders. Life had become a tapestry of conflicting emotions, with her diner facing an uncertain future. The once cheerful chatter of the townsfolk had grown stagnant as the economy slowed a biting wind that swept through the streets. And Melanie? Her aspirations had transformed into a Category 7 storm that left Evelyn feeling like a shipwreck, marooned and misunderstood. "Mom, life is better in the city," she had declared bitterly before shutting the door behind her, leaving Evelyn clutching an empty cup of sorrow. But fate had a way of twisting the knife. One fateful afternoon, a storm swept through Maplewood, ripping roofs off homes and tearing up the community's spirit. The howling winds seemed to howl along with Evelyn's heart. As her neighbors emerged from their shattered houses, something ignited within her, a spark of resilience she didn't know she had. "We can't let this break us," she told them, her voice a beacon in the chaos. And just like that, Evelyn began organizing community dinners at the diner. The aroma of fried chicken filled the air, laughter intertwined with stories, and slowly, houses were rebuilt not just with nails and wood but with love. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The Maplewood Festival was drawing near, a cherished celebration that had endured through hard times. The town gathered, present and buzzing, when Evelyn was unexpectedly called to the stage to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award. The applause thundered like a heartbeat, swelling with pride and admiration. But as her heart swelled in the crowd, she spotted Melanie, her eyes shining with ambition, a tempest brewing right before her. "I can't believe you still waste your time here, Mom," Melanie challenged, stepping forward amidst the applause. The audience gasped, sensing the brewing storm. Faces turned. The air thickened with tension. Evelyn's chest tightened, torn between her daughter's dreams and the love she held for the town that raised her. In that charged moment, secrets flickered in both their eyes, a bittersweet ache of choices not yet made. Would this family survive the growing chasm between their worlds? Or would the weight of ambition pull them further apart than ever? With Maplewood holding its breath, Evelyn faced the embodiment of her dreams and fears in one heartbreaking moment, spirit poised at an unimaginable crossroads, leaving the audience restless, waiting with bated breath for the next chapter of her extraordinary journey. Evelyn's heart raced, caught in the whirlwind of emotions. All around her, the applause faded into a distant echo. She could feel the weight of Melanie's words pressing down on her, as if they were heavier than the storm that had torn through Maplewood just weeks before. It was an invitation to a confrontation that had been lingering just below the surface for far too long. "Mom, you can't be serious about staying here." Melanie's tone mixed disbelief with frustration, rippling through the audience. They watched, riveted, as mother and daughter squared off. Evelyn felt torn. Every fiber of her being wanted to shield her little girl from the pain of how life can shift. But Melanie was a woman now, brimming with fiery ambition. "It's not about wasting time, Mel," Evelyn replied, her voice shaking. She clenched her hands, willing her resolve to take root. This diner, this town, they represented love, community, and resilience. This is home. You can't just dismiss that. The subtle energy in the air shifted. Some townsfolk began to murmur, exchanging knowing glances. They recognized the tension between their beloved Evelyn and the impassioned young woman who emerged from their small town, ready to conquer the world. It was a familiar story in Maplewood dreams, set against the backdrop of roots that went deep. You know what? I'm not dismissive of what you've done here. It's just there's more out there. Melanie shot back, her voice firm, but beneath the bravado lay a quiver of hurt. You'll always be my mom, but I can't understand how you can be so content. Evelyn's pulse quickened. Deep down, she knew Melanie craved understanding. Content? She echoed, her breath coming in quick bursts. It's not just contentment, it's purpose. You've chased your dreams and I'm proud of you. But don't forget where you came from. The silence between them was palpable. Each word hung in the air like a poised sword, threatening to ignite into a larger battle. But amidst the tension, something unexpected flickered: an old photograph of her husband seated at the diner. A testament to passion and sacrifice. A tear slipped down Evelyn's cheek. I want you to succeed, Mel. But I also want you to feel what we've built here. Laughter from her diner, her friends, the warmth of a second home. It all pulsed around them, begging for Melanie to see. Melanie's expression softened momentarily, eyes searching for the roots of her childhood intertwined with ambition she longed to achieve. Mom, I'm scared you'll be left behind and this town will hold you back. I can't live with that. Their gaze longed to bridge the distance, yet the walls were tall and thick. The audience clung to the silence, thirsting for resolution, with hearts entangled in Evelyn's poignant struggle. Evelyn took a shaky breath. I can't ask you to give up your dreams. But I hope you can find a way to carry us with you. That doesn't mean we have to lose each other. The energy shifted once more, anticipation thrumming through the crowd like electricity. This powerful moment was at a tipping point, waiting for one of them to take a step forward. As the evening light bathed the stage in a golden hue, there it was, the pulse of choices in the air, the question lingering unanswered. What would happen when dreams collide with the love of family? The pieces were falling into place, but would they fit together? Or would they shatter into irreparable fragments? With unexpected boldness, Evelyn reached out, hoping for more than words. Mel, will you meet me halfway? The crowd gasped, hearts catching in throats. Would Melanie finally understand the depth of meaning in those simple words? Or was this just the beginning of a much larger confrontation? The drama held its breath, ready to plunge deeper into these unraveling lives. Melanie hesitated, her eyes wide, reading the sincerity etched on her mother's face. The weight of the moment wrapped around them like a heavy blanket, stifling the noise of the audience. Around them, the world felt still, a pause before the storm that would either bring them together or further apart. Halfway, Melanie echoed, her voice barely above a whisper. Just the thought of it sent her heart pounding fiercely against her ribcage. What does that even look like? Evelyn took a step closer, her palms reaching out towards her daughter. The gesture was gentle but firm, offering a lifeline of hope. Means we both try, Mel. To understand what the other needs. It means we don't give up on our love, even if our paths look different. A flicker of vulnerability crossed Melanie's face. But what if our love isn't enough? She countered, the defense mechanism she had learned from childhood surfacing. What if you just don't get what I want? Evelyn felt her heart twist, knowing how chasing dreams often meant leaving the safety of home behind. You were never meant to carry this solitarily. We're a family. You're not just my daughter. You're a part of this place too. The crowd shifted uneasily, as if they were witnesses to a sacred ritual, longing for closure and a resolution they could resonate with. Somewhere in the back, someone murmured, just hug it out already. Melanie felt the tears welling in her eyes as the anger that had fueled her earlier words simmered down to a soft ache. She blinked, trying to erase the blur of emotions overtaking her. It hurts to think of leaving you behind, Mom. I want you to see all there is beyond Maplewood. Evelyn swallowed hard, biting back the waves of sadness that threatened to spill over. I do, Mel. But I also want you to know that I don't have to lose you to find joy here, she said, her voice quavering with raw honesty. This town is not a cage. It's my canvas and it looks beautiful with you in it. In that moment, Melanie took a small step forward. It was subtle but heavy with meaning. The barrier between them started to crack open. What if is it really possible that we could find a way to accept both? She asked, her voice shaky but filled with an ember of hope. Of course, Evelyn assured her, wiping away the stray tears that fell bitterly. Let us explore together. We don't have to settle for just one dream. Just like that, a tentative smile blossomed on Melanie's face, breaking through the storm cloud above. Okay. But she hesitated, the playful spark igniting in her eyes. You still have to promise me some spontaneous road trips. The diner can't be all we do. Evelyn chuckled, a tear of relief rolling down her cheek. Spontaneous? You mean using my old diner lady charm to persuade my friends? Challenge accepted. As laughter broke through the tension, the audience erupted in applause once more. A wave of relief swept through the room where love had subverted misunderstanding. In that moment, Evelyn felt the first stirrings of hope that they could create a bridge between two worlds, the quaint, rustic diner life and Melanie's ambitious dreams. But there lingered a thread of uncertainty. Just promise me you won't give up on your dreams for me. Okay? Evelyn said, her voice dropping to a serious tone. Eyes locked onto Melanie's. And promise you won't settle? Melanie countered, shooting her mom a determined look. The weight of their promises lingered in the air. An unspoken pact forged in the heart of Maplewood. A fiery reminder that love was a work in progress, one that needed continuous nurturing and understanding. As the applause dwindled, Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. A new chapter awaited them. But what would that journey look like? Would they be able to weave their dreams together? Or would old resentments resurface to rewrite their story once more? As the applause began to fade, Melanie and Evelyn stood surrounded by the clamor of the diner, yet somehow separated from it all. The laughter that had bloomed between them felt like a fragile flower still braving the cold of a lingering winter. It was a moment poised between possibility and doubt. Let us grab some coffee, Evelyn suggested, her voice gentle. The thought of retreating to their favorite booth felt comforting. A familiar haven in which to continue the conversation. Sure, Melanie replied, her enthusiasm tempered by a surge of thoughts racing through her mind. As they moved through the crowded diner, Melanie caught snippets of conversation from the patrons around them, gleeful shouts of success, joy over pie slices, snippets of their lives she wished to share but felt unworthy of. All while she and her mother were still standing at the edge of their own story, yearning for something more. Settling into the booth, Melanie leaned forward, her brow furrowing. You really mean it? About exploring together? Evelyn nodded, pouring 2 steaming mugs of coffee, the rich aroma wrapping around them like a warm blanket. Absolutely. I'll even brush up on my playlist for our road trips, she teased. But Melanie saw a hint of seriousness beneath her mother's smile. I want to give you the freedom to dream, Mel. But it's also about finding our shared happiness here. Taking a sip, Melanie couldn't help but admire her mother's unwavering commitment. But what if I can't juggle everything? The diner, school, friends? I don't want to stretch myself too thin or lose any of it. The fear of letting go was palpable, wrapped tightly around her heart. Evelyn leaned closer, her gaze steady. Life's often about balancing the pieces we hold dear. We'll figure it out together. That's what partnership is, right? Not just in blood but in spirit. Melanie pondered those words, intertwining them with the swirling thoughts in her head. She had spent so long holding tightly to her fears, convinced of the distance that lay between her dreams and her mother's world. But perhaps that bridge could be built step by small step, just like this moment was unfolding. Okay, she said slowly, feeling a renewed sense of determination. Okay, we'll try. Then a spark caught her eye. Across the diner, an old photograph hung, showing the diner as it once was, a black and white image of its opening day filled with excited customers and a younger Evelyn serving smiles. Mom, look at that, Melanie exclaimed, gesturing toward the picture. What was it like back then? Evelyn turned, a nostalgic smile crossing her face. Oh honey, it was pure magic. Everyone came together. You could feel the heartbeat of the town back then. As Evelyn shared stories of the early years, Melanie saw the passion light up her mother's eyes. It was a flicker of something deeper, a life steeped in both struggles and victories. Listening, she felt the weight of her own dreams shifting, their energy intertwining with a sense of belonging she had almost forgotten. But as they shared laughter and memories, an unseen shadow loomed. Evelyn's aging friend, Clara, who ran an antique store down the street, had mentioned a potential buyer eyeing the property for development. The mere thought of losing the diner echoed in Melanie's mind, sparking fear once again. What happens if the diner changes? What if we lose it, Mom? She asked, her voice trembling slightly. Evelyn paused, noting the quiet anxiety that returned to her daughter's face. "We fight for it, Mel. Together." In the midst of their talk, the diner's old jukebox began to play a soft, familiar tune, weaving through the space like a heartbeat. The energy shifted, a reminder that, like their relationship, the diner had stories of its own, and each was woven into a greater narrative they must now confront. As laughter and stories faded into a contemplative silence, Melanie realized this wasn't merely about looking forward. It was about guarding what they built. And while hope flickered softly in her heart, a more profound question hung in the air, waiting to be explored. Could they truly protect their dreams while battling the very change that threatened to disperse them? The next chapter loomed, fraught with both challenge and possibility. The moment hung between them, fragile yet electric. Melanie, feeling the familiar warmth of the coffee mug in her hands, tried to grasp the enormity of her mother's words. They had spoken of dreams of the past, of the diner and its precarious future. Yet a single thought kept knocking at the door of her heart. How could they protect something they loved when it seemed so vulnerable to change? "Mom," she ventured, her voice barely above a whisper. "What if we don't know how to fight?" Evelyn's eyes gleamed with resolve. "Then we'll learn. Together. This diner isn't just a building. It's a part of who we are." As if to punctuate her statement, the old jukebox shifted to a lively tune, stirring the once dormant atmosphere. Nearby patrons began tapping their feet, and laughter bubbled over as people engaged in easy banter. It was a reminder, a spark of inspiration. "How about we start with a big fundraiser?" Melanie suggested, the idea igniting her spirit. "We could invite the town, share stories, maybe even host a cook-off. People love the diner. They want to help." Evelyn's eyes widened, a spark igniting there too. "That's brilliant, Melanie. We could showcase our best dishes. People would come together for sure. It could be the heart of the town." The vision began to unfold in Melanie's mind, the diner filled with friends and neighbors, laughter and delicious smells blending together. It could be a celebration of community, a chance for them to reclaim what was rightfully theirs. As they brainstormed, a plan took shape. They could sell tickets, offer prizes for the best pie, have local bands play music throughout the day. The possibilities were endless, but so were the worries. Still, there was something about the idea that ignited hope in Melanie. She could feel it flickering away the shadows of doubt, and with it, the fear of losing everything they had worked for. "I can help with the poster," Melanie said, her confidence blossoming. "I'll make it colorful, inviting. Everyone will want to join us." Evelyn reached across the table, squeezing her daughter's hand. "I'm so proud of you, Mel. This is what we need. Your spirit is what will bring everyone together." But as they shared ideas, a knot of anxiety twisted in Melanie's stomach. What if this wasn't enough? What if they lost the diner despite their best efforts? Shaking off the thoughts, she focused on the stirrings of excitement, the laughter in the diner wrapping around them. They had a plan. They had hope. And with that, Melanie couldn't help but smile. Just then, Clara entered the diner, her skin weathered but her eyes bright. She carried a box of well-loved recipes, the kind that felt like home. "What's all this buzz, ladies?" she asked, her voice warm yet teasing. "Clara," Evelyn called out, "you're just in time. We have an idea for a fundraiser." Melanie's heart raced. Clara knew the history of the diner, its secrets woven through decades of service. If anyone could help them rally support, it would be her. As Evelyn explained the vision, Clara's laughter mingled with the notes from the jukebox. Her reactions were animated, eyes lighting up, nodding with enthusiasm. "Count me in. We can't let this place change hands. I have dozens of recipes to contribute." Melanie sat back, elated, watching her mother and Clara talk animatedly, their energy infectious. She felt a swelling in her chest, a sense of purpose, of family, of community. But as the sun dipped lower, shadows danced across the diner, reminding Melanie of the ticking clock. Time was against them. The pressure to ensure everything went perfectly tightened like a coil around her heart. "Let us set a date soon," she said, even though uncertainty hung over them like clouds before a storm. "And we should get the word out right away." Evelyn nodded, determination returning to her features. "Yes. We can show everyone how much the diner means to us. We'll fight for our place together." Loss loomed nearby, but with it came the flicker of hope. They had each other. They had their community, and perhaps that was enough. As they made plans, a lingering question pushed at the edges of Melanie's mind. Would this united front be enough? When the day of the fundraiser finally arrived, would the town stand beside them in their fight? With excitement bubbling in her heart and doubt nipping at her heels, she knew one thing. Every journey started with a step. So with laughter echoing in the air, she took a deep breath and together, they prepared to step into the unknown. The sky was darkening, but Melanie could feel a light beginning to rise within her, both daunting and beautiful. What would the town think of their fundraiser? And would they truly come together to save what felt like a piece of their shared soul? Melanie awoke the next morning to the soft warm light spilling in through the window. The uncertainty of yesterday faded as excitement flooded in. Today, she would begin transforming their vision into reality. She leapt from bed, her heart racing with anticipation. After a quick breakfast, she grabbed poster board and markers, spreading her supplies across the kitchen table. The smell of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the air as her mother joined her, a steaming cup in hand. Evelyn smiled, warmth radiating from her like the sun outside. "Ready to create some magic?" she asked, plopping down beside her daughter. "Absolutely," Melanie replied, drawing the first big letters of the diner's name. Each stroke filled her with a sense of purpose. She envisioned the people who would gather at the fundraiser. Families, old friends, neighbors who had shared their lives around the diner's crooked wooden tables. It was more than just an event. It was a celebration of their community. They worked side by side, laughter bursting forth as they reminisced about the quirky customers and joyfully chaotic pie-baking contests of yesteryear. As they created colorful images and catchy phrases, the posters began to take shape. They poured their hearts into every letter, knowing that each poster represented a plea for help, a rallying cry for their beloved diner. "I love these drawings," Evelyn said, admiring Golden Roast Diner's title decorated with images of pies and steaming cups of coffee. "Feels like the diner is alive again." Just then, the sound of the bell chimed from the front door. Clara burst in, her hair bouncing with her lively steps as she carried her trusty recipe box. "I brought a surprise," she exclaimed, placing a dish on the table. The aroma enveloped the room, warm and sweet, the smell of her famous apple pie. "Wow," Melanie said with wide eyes. "That smells amazing. Are you bringing this to the fundraiser?" "Of course. And I've got a whole menu planned," Clara said, beaming with excitement. "Everyone will love reminiscing over these dishes." The three women gathered around the table, recipes and ideas swirling in the air, each suggestion fueling their collective hope. Soon, Melanie's mother suggested a corner for a storytelling session, where patrons could share their favorite memories about the diner and its role in their lives. "What if we create a memory wall?" Melanie proposed, her mind racing with ideas. "We can hang notes or photos of moments that highlight the diner's history." As they continued brainstorming, a ripple of anxiety tugged at Melanie's thoughts. What if they poured everything into this and it still wasn't enough? The thought nagged insistently like a chill in the air. "Mel, you're quiet," Evelyn observed, her brow furrowing. "What's on your mind?" Taking a deep breath, Melanie hesitated before speaking. "What if we do everything right, but it still doesn't save the diner? What if people don't come?" Clara reached out and placed a reassuring hand on Melanie's arm. "You know, sometimes it's not about the result. It's about the effort and the journey," she said softly. "People will see the love you have for this place. That's what matters." Melanie nodded slowly, absorbing Clara's words. She thought of the old faces she would see again, the familiar smiles that would arrive to support them. Perhaps that itself was a win. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting golden rays through the window, they finalized their poster designs and recipes. Time seemed to slip away in that whirlwind of creativity and purpose. With every detail firming up, hope began growing stronger within Melanie's heart. But now came the most daunting task: spreading the word. They would need to connect with everyone in town to ensure the fundraiser would be a success. It would take courage and conviction, and most of all, a leap of faith. "Well, ladies, this is it," Melanie said, squaring her shoulders and glancing at her mother and Clara. "Let us go out there and show them how much the diner means to us." Feeling the weight of the moment, they each took a glance. Back at the cozy diner, its usual glow now brimming with new energy. Time to step into the light. They set off into the bustling streets, determination buzzing in the air around them, Melanie's heart raced with the thrill of the unknown. Would the town rally behind them? Would they truly embrace the heart of their community? With hope as their compass, they drew closer to the answer. As they stepped onto the sun-soaked street, Melanie's heart thumped loudly in her chest. Her mother walked beside her, an aura of strength guiding them through the familiar, sometimes bustling sidewalks. Clara hopped ahead, animatedly pointing out old landmarks and recalling stories attached to each one. It felt like the spirit of the community wrapped around them, nudging them forward. "We should start with Allen's Hardware," Clara suggested, her eyes gleaming. "Mr. Allen hasn't missed a diner fundraiser in years." "Good idea," Melanie agreed, a flutter of excitement blossoming in her chest. "He always brings his whole family." Navigating the streets, they passed by old friends and neighbors, many of who waved, unaware of the mission at hand. Melanie felt each nod and smile strengthen her resolve. With every step, the vision of the diner grew clearer in her mind. The laughter, the aromas, the feeling of togetherness as they approached the hardware store. Clara rushed in first, her enthusiasm contagious. "Mr. Allen, we have something important to talk about." Melanie and Evelyn followed closely, their breaths slightly hitching as the door swung open. Inside, the store was bustling with shoppers gathering supplies for their weekend projects. The warm, familiar scent of polished wood and fresh paint wrapped around them, grounding Melanie amidst her rising nerves. "Clara, what brings you in today?" Mr. Allen, a grizzled man with a twinkling smile, looked pleasantly surprised. He wiped his hands on his apron and leaned on the counter. Clara wasted no time explaining the upcoming fundraiser, her voice rising in excitement with every word. "It's for the Golden Roast Diner. We're bringing back the community spirit, and we'd love for you to help spread the word." Evelyn stepped forward, her melody of kindness dipping into the conversation. "Your support can make a difference, Mr. Allen. The diner is the heart of our town, and it deserves a second chance." Mr. Allen listened, his expression earnest, furrowing slightly as he processed their words. "You know, the diner is a lot more than just a place to eat. It's where we all come together, share stories, and create memories." Melanie's heart swelled. This was the response they hoped for. His words resonated deep within her, stirring emotions she thought were already settled. "I'll put up a poster in the window," he promised, glancing toward the door. "I'll even spread the word to my customers. You just got yourself a team member." Excitement bubbled up inside of Melanie. "Thank you. That means so much." Encouraged, they spent the next hour visiting local shops, churches, and the small community library. Everywhere they went, laughter mingled with tears. They encountered stories of love and loss, all tied to the diner. Each conversation reinforced their belief in the fundraiser's importance. Yet, as they walked down the last block toward home, Melanie couldn't shake the thread of doubt woven into the fabric of her excitement. The kindness and encouragement they received were invigorating, but would it be enough? Just as the sun dipped below the horizon, turning the sky into a canvas of deep oranges and pinks, Melanie stopped in her tracks. "What if we document this journey?" she blurted. "We could share photos, stories, and updates. It would involve more people. It could create a wave of support." Evelyn smiled, pride swelling in her eyes. "What a wonderful idea. You could create a blog or a social media page. Could go beyond just this fundraiser." Clara clapped her hands together with glee. "I love it. And think about it, we can gather the memories of the diner as we go." With renewed determination they headed home, excitement buzzing anew. But as Melanie drifted off to sleep that night, a chill of unease swept over her. How would the community respond once they opened up about their struggles and dreams? In the shadows of her mind, a single thought crept in, lingering like a whispered promise amidst the dark. Was she ready to bare her heart to the world? The next morning, Melanie awoke to the soft rays of sunlight filtering through her window. She blinked away the remnants of sleep, her heart still racing from the thoughts that had chased her through the night. Today would be different. Today they would put their plan into action. She hopped out of bed, her mind buzzing with ideas about the blog and the stories they could share. The scent of pancakes wafted up from the kitchen, an inviting reminder of normalcy that helped ease the knots tightening in her stomach. After getting dressed, she dashed downstairs, where Clara was already at the table, buttering her stack. "Morning," Clara chirped, her voice bright and filled with energy. Have you thought more about how we'll present everything? Melanie asked as she poured herself a cup of coffee. Definitely. We'll start with the diner, of course. But let us also include those we meet along the way. Everyone has a story about the diner, and those stories matter. Clara's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. Evelyn joined them, her smile warm. I can help with the technical stuff when you start the blog. You'll also need a catchy name. Something that captures the heart of what we're trying to achieve. As they brainstormed, topics flowed back and forth, the energy in the room growing stronger. Clara suggested names like Diner Diaries and Heart of the Roast. But nothing seemed to fit just right. Finally, Evelyn chimed in, how about Golden Memories? Melanie's heart quickened at the thought. That's perfect. It wraps everything up in one phrase: our memories, our community. The diner. With a name in place, the trio set off to tackle the day ahead. They planned to visit a few more local businesses and anticipate the upcoming campaign, the big fundraiser at the diner itself. The library had already agreed to host an event, and now they needed to refine their efforts. As they stepped outside into the fresh morning air, the excitement was palpable. They chatted about how to catch the spirit of their town in photos, and Melanie's worries seemed to fade. It felt like they were catching a wave together, riding the strength of solidarity that had always marked their community. Walking through the heart of the town, they encountered Mrs. Wilkins, the elderly librarian. She was clutching a stack of books, her frail frame still filled with grace. Melanie approached her, heart racing, but the warmth in Mrs. Wilkins' smile made her feel at ease. Mrs. Wilkins, we're starting a project to fundraise for the diner. We'd love to share your story. We know how special the diner has been to this town. Melanie said tentatively. Oh, my dear. Mrs. Wilkins exclaimed, her voice rich with emotion. That diner has held my memories ever since I moved here. It's where I first met my husband, where we celebrated anniversaries and birthdays. I'd love to share my story. Before they parted, Mrs. Wilkins stepped in closer, whispering, every memory counts. The more we share, the more we connect. You girls are doing something beautiful. As they continued down the street, Clara turned to Melanie, her brow slightly furrowed. What if we don't get enough stories? What if people don't want to share? Melanie bit her lip, doubt creeping back in. I guess we won't know until we try. A part of me wonders what happens once we start revealing our own truths. Like, am I brave enough to share mine? Slowing their pace, Melanie pondered the question, feeling the weight of vulnerability settle around her. The anticipation of what lay ahead was thrilling, yet terrifying. Soon they reached Allen's Hardware again, and Melanie hesitated. Maybe this isn't just about the diner, perhaps it's about us too. Clara nodded, her expression thoughtful. Exactly. We all have struggles. If we put our stories out there, it might inspire others. As they entered the store, the warmth welcomed them once more. But Melanie noticed an unexpected flurry among the customers, murmurs of concern echoing through the aisles. Something was off. Is everything all right? Melanie asked a nearby shopper, her heart pounding. It's Mr. Allen, the woman said, her eyes wide. He's been taken to the hospital. No one knows what happened. Melanie's stomach twisted at the thought. How could their supporter, their first ally, be in trouble? The urgency of their mission suddenly felt heavy, weighing on her like a leaden cloak. What would they do without Mr. Allen's support? Would the diner still rise without its first cheerleader? A new determination surged within her. They had to act, and fast. We have to rally everyone together. If Mr. Allen needs us, we won't give up now. Not ever. But as she said those words, the shadows of doubt began to creep back in. Would they be able to inspire their community when their own hearts were about to be put to the ultimate test? The air felt heavy as Melanie stood in the hardware store, the whispers swirling around her like gauzy strands of worry. Clara looked at her, concern etched across her face. What do we do? She asked softly, fear mingling with determination in her eyes. Melanie swallowed hard, feeling the urgency stinging her throat. We need to start a campaign for Mr. Allen. Let us get the community involved. He has always been there for us, now it's our turn. Right. But how? Evelyn joined the conversation, her tone taking on a practical edge. Melanie took a deep breath, finding clarity in the shadow of uncertainty. We can create flyers and share his story on the blog. We can have a donation box at the diner, maybe even a community dinner to rally everyone together. We have to show him how much he means to us. Clara nodded vigorously. And we can invite people to share their own stories about him too. He deserves to see just how impactful he has been on all of us. With a plan brewing, they left the hardware store, the chill of fear slowly dissipating in the warmth of shared purpose. As they walked, Melanie felt the pace quicken, hope flickering within her chest like a candle spark. They visited every small shop and corner of the town, spreading the word about Mr. Allen's plight. Each time she told his story, she felt a little lighter, the weight of doubt ebbing away. The diner's supportive spirit blossomed when they returned. Tom, their waiter, jumped in without hesitation, already knowing Mr. Allen's significance. "I'll help serve at the dinner," he exclaimed, determination behind his eyes. Melanie's heart swelled at his enthusiasm, spurring a wave of solidarity flowing across the diner. Days rolled on with the campaign gaining momentum. They crafted flyers, each letter knotted with love and gratitude for Mr. Allen. Clara grinned as they shared laughter about requests for the strangest diner dish that's ever been made over the years. Each tale conjured a different face from their community, faces intertwined with memories that mattered. On the eve of the fundraising dinner, Melanie stood in front of a brightly decorated banner that read "Together for Mr. Allen." A sea of faces old and young filled the diner, warm and welcoming. Family and friends shared their stories. Laughter rose, yet so did tears as they spoke of how Mr. Allen helped them on tough days, offering a kind word or an ear to listen. Melanie prepared to share her own story when she noticed Clara next to her, fidgeting. "Do you think should we tell them about our project?" she whispered, glancing nervously at the crowd. "They need to know about the diner too," Melanie responded, her heart pounding. "But we can't forget to focus on Mr. Allen and his recovery. After we can weave our stories together." As she stepped up to the small stage, a hush settled. With her hands trembling slightly, she spoke of their mission and its connection to Mr. Allen. Tears brimmed in the eyes of those gathered, and Melanie felt the bonds tightening around their community, a tapestry of shared history and hope. Just as the last stories were shared, a commotion at the door captured everyone's attention. The din of the crowd faded, and Melanie's heart raced as she saw Mr. Allen being wheeled in, looking stunned but smiling. The diner erupted into applause, a wave of warmth enveloping the room. But as Mr. Allen caught her eye, an unspoken question hung thick in the air. Would he still be the beacon of hope they all depended upon? Melanie's gaze met his, and she saw a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. As she thought about the evening's gathering, she understood, what if the diner was more than about survival? What if it was about finding new purpose? And just as her thoughts began to swirl with ideas, a loud crash from the back of the diner interrupted her. Clara gasped, and Melanie turned sharply, uncertainty now mixing with a new tug of apprehension. What had happened now, and how would it change everything they had just built? The crash echoed in the cozy diner, an unexpected disruption that sent shockwaves of silence through the crowd. Hearts raced as Melanie turned to the source, her mind flashing through possibilities. What if it was something precious? What if it was their hope tumbling down? "Is everyone okay?" Evelyn's voice rang out, steady yet anxious. The crowd began to part, and Melanie's pulse quickened. She caught sight of Clara, who had moved closer to the noise, uncertainty writ large on her features. A moment later, Tom, the waiter, emerged, holding a tipped-over display stand that had once showcased a mound of fresh pies, a pillar of the diner's pride now on the floor. Crust shattered, fillings drizzling like lost dreams. Gasps rippled through the crowd. But it was Mr. Allen who broke the tension first. He chuckled softly as the warmth of laughter started to seep back into the room. "Don't worry. I've had worse falls and lived to tell the tale." With a wink, he hoisted himself up, brushing off his shirt. Evelyn watched, a mix of worry and pride filling her heart. "We're glad you're here, Allen. You're needed tonight." The energy in the diner shifted once more, a palpable bond reconnecting every individual. Melanie stepped up, recognizing the moment to seize the lingering hope. "You all know Mr. Allen has been a community cornerstone. Moments like these, like the brewery of laughter spilling forth, remind us how the diner and everyone in it are woven together." Melanie's words flowed, and in her heart, she felt a surge of purpose. This diner isn't just about survival. It's the heartbeat of Maplewood. It's our story, our fortress of memories. Her voice grew stronger, resonating through the gathering. "You're right," Mr. Allen replied, nodding appreciatively. Let us build this together, one slice of pie at a time. Laughter erupted again, bubbling warmth that filled the once stifling air. With newfound vigor, Melanie glanced at her mom, who wore a radiant smile that lit up the entire diner. They had rallied against storms, broken through barriers, and embraced vulnerability. And now they forged into the night transformed, ready to protect what was precious. Let us keep sharing our stories. Everyone here has stories, Melanie encouraged. What brought you to the diner? What made it special? Voices chimed in, stories spilling forth like the tasty coffee they served. Through these moments, Melanie stared at Mr. Allen, remembering his words. It was about the journey, the effort. As people reminisced their sweetest memories, Melanie fixed her gaze on Clara. The thread of authenticity, of connection, weaved tightly within their words. She felt a shiver of gratitude for those gathered, friends old and new, populating the diner with laughter and tears. Halfway through, Melanie addressed Clara. Tonight we'll not only raise funds for Mr. Allen, but also for the diner's future. We uphold the heartbeat of our town, our families, our friends. Heartbeats synchronized, the fire of purpose igniting hope within their tired hearts. When it was time to close the evening, the atmosphere was electric. Questions filled the air about how they would proceed. Would they fund an initiative for the diner? Did Mr. Allen feel like a decided part of it all still? And just as she tried to grasp it all, Melanie leaned into a higher point. We'll create a community board, an open space for sharing. We craft memories, we protect our diner. Together. Cheers erupted, each sound a note in a harmonious symphony of triumph. Over and over, Melanie and her mother hugged every passerby, learning strength even in unwritten uncertainty. In this moment of surrender, love enveloped like a giant hand shaped into a warm embrace. As the night wrapped its arms around Maplewood, they knew they owned this journey together. Now who wants a piece of pie? Melanie grinned, heart swelling with joy. The diner buzzed with laughter, love bubbling forth as old and new tales mingled in every corner. It wasn't just a diner. It was home. That as she looked around, Melanie felt a powerful urge swell in her heart. This was the moment, no time to hold back. She stepped outside beneath the stars, joy bursting inside her. Hey everyone! We're starting a blog to document everything. Keep the memories alive. If anyone wants to keep sharing, let us come together more. The spirit of Maplewood feeds us all. And as she and her mother stepped back into the warmth of the diner, a collective cheer rang in the air, a reminder that they weren't merely saving the diner, they were igniting a movement of resilience, a tapestry woven from love for all to share. Now more than ever, Melanie realized how the diner, the stories, and the people intertwined created something eternal, a legacy that would blossom, defying the shadows. So they all clapped, cheered, and embraced every moment, ready to face tomorrow's uncertainties hand in hand. They would pour love, laughter, and pie into everything they created. Now was the time to act. Now was the time to create a future reflected in every shared smile, laid bare by the spirit of Maplewood. You need to subscribe now to not miss this journey. Leave a like now to show your support. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this heartfelt ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformative journey. We can't wait to keep this community growing. Don't wait not even one more second.